Today we're in a home that one of my buyers closed on last week, and they're going to be doing some renovations to the property before they move in. So we're going to do a little renovation series and follow them a little bit throughout this process that's going to happen. Not only will we be following the progress to see how their renovations turn out, but we're also going to be talking a little bit about the options when you're wanting to do some renovations to a home that you purchase. Because sometimes when we buy a home, it may have great bones, but there may be some things that you want to change to make it yours. I get the question quite often of, can I fold in the renovations that I want to do to a home into the purchase price? And there are a couple different answers to this depending on how you want to go. The first answer is yes, you can, but you have to get a specific type loan, which is called a renovation loan. And this is not something that can be just put on top of the loan that you've already been approved for. Your lender will need to discuss the options and the way that this loan works to see if it's something that you can qualify for. There are a few aspects of the renovation loan process that you should be aware of when you're deciding whether this loan is the right type for you. First of all, you can't move into the property until after the renovations are complete. You will also have to hire licensed contractors to do the work. You're not allowed to do any of the work to the property yourself, and there can be additional inspections required by the lender before, during, and after the construction is complete before you would be approved to go ahead and move into the property. In this particular situation, my buyers were using a VA loan. And a lot of people think if you're using a VA loan, there's not any way to get allowances for renovations or modifications to the home. And that just depends. You do have to pass it by your lender, and they do have to approve it. There are some caps on the amount that can be given from the seller as concessions, and that would include not only the renovation costs that you're asking for, but also your closing costs. But it can be done, and this is where using a local lender really comes in handy, because they're going to be able to talk to you about our local market, what we can do in this area based on the VA loan, and get everything done so that it works out in your favor. If you're using a different loan type than VA, don't worry. It's still possible for you to do this with your loan type as well. Once again, speak to your local lender, tell them what you'd like to do, kind of get an idea of how much you're looking to renovate money-wise, and let them know, and then they can tell you what type of loan they can do, what your parameters are, and the best way to formulate it so that you can get what you want in the end. Another option to be able to include the renovations into your contract price would be asking the seller to do those renovations for you prior to closing. Now, there are some caveats to think about this. One of those being the amount of the renovation, to make sure that the home is still going to appraise for the value that they've agreed to sell it for with those renovations included. This can be a hiccup if something were to happen and the home didn't appraise after the renovation costs were put in it. Now, if you are going to take this route, you will want to specifically write into your offer that you get to approve the contractors, and you also get to pick out the materials that are used for the renovations. That way you're sure to get what you actually want in the home. Now, another option is always the cash option. That way you go ahead and purchase the home in the condition that it's in, and then you just use your cash funds to make the renovations after the home is closed and it's yours. The way that it works when you have money being held for repairs or renovations in escrow is basically the same thing that when you're doing any type of work to a home. Your contractors are going to come in and give you quotes. You're going to approve the quotes, decide on the materials, and have the work done. Then, instead of you writing a check personally to the contractor, the attorney that closed the home is going to have the money that they have in escrow for you, and they're going to pay the contractors directly. This can be very helpful when buyers are not in town yet, or even sometimes out of the country, because you're not waiting for funds to be sent back and forth. The attorneys are here local, and they can cut your contractor's checks quickly, get things paid for, and you can go on with the next step. Now that we've talked some ways of getting the renovation process started, stay tuned and we'll let you know how this particular renovation goes. And a good thing about a renovation budget is sometimes when we're looking at properties, you may find a home that you just fall in love with the bones, the layout, but it needs to be a little bit modernized. It needs to be made a little bit yours. Well, with this project, with the renovation, no matter how we do it, we can make that happen. So the next time you go out and look at a house, just think of what could be and maybe not what still is. And always remember, I'm the only call you need to make.